Hello and welcome to Alexander's Shoeshine Emporium. It's really nice to see you today, and though I'm not known as a psychic, I'm pretty sure I know why you have sought out my services. Does it have anything by chance to do with those pretty gnarly old boots you've got there? Yeah, well, I thought so. Well, when you've been in the business as long as I have, certain things, they just come naturally, and knowing when a person needs a good shine on their boots, that's a specialty of mine. Alright, let's take a look at those, okay? Alrighty. Golly. Well, you, sir, you have yourself a pair of very dirty boots here. Luckily, that seems to be most of what the issue is here. Just dirt, which, well, if you've ever been to a shoe shiner's before, that's a shoe shiner's specialty, okay? So, I'll tell you what, we're going to get these cleaned up for you. We're going to get them looking really nice and pretty for you. And then, we'll get you back on the road, lickety-split. And you can prance around knowing that everyone is jealous of your shiny new boots, from the fellows who are wishing they were you to the ladies who are, well, they were wishing that they were with you, eh? Wonderful. Alrighty, so first things first, of course, you gotta get these laces off. You gotta let the shoes breathe a bit. Because you'd be surprised how much dirt is stored in the laces. That is, of course, one of my jobs, is to make sure that every part, not just the obvious dirt and polish, is taken care of, but the little details as well. Shoe shining is a very detail-oriented career. Come on, there we go. Didn't want to let go of that one. Here we go. Here we go. Alright. Wonderful. Okay. So now we've got these laces here, and these laces, you can tell they're pretty grimy, they're pretty worn out. They could certainly use with a good scrub and a good wash. That's exactly what we're going to give them, okay? Wonderful. So first things first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just dunk these in some water with just a little bit of very mild neutral soap in there, okay? Nothing too fancy, just some stock standard dish detergent. And laces, I mean, you can tell these are made to last, so you don't need to be too worried about them needing any sort of special care. Perfect. We'll just let those soak for the kind of duration of this. Now, as you can see, there's quite a bit of kind of loose dirt on these, right? Nothing that is really going to be able to be taken off by soap and water, because it's kind of just there. So that's why we break out Mr. Bristle here, and we just start to clean these off, like so. Nothing too fancy, just a pretty normal boar bristle brush. And as you can see, we're beginning to already discover that there was in fact a pair of shoes underneath all that dust. Which is always good. These have been pretty well loved, I can tell, which is always good. Sometimes, as a shoe shiner, we get boots or shoes that have been neglected, that are needing shined up because they haven't been used in decades. They've been left in in an attic or in a garage somewhere, or just in a locker. Really just haven't seen the light of day, haven't been worn, haven't been used in quite quite some time. And for me, that's always sad because shoes are one of the things where obviously everyone needs shoes, but they're meant to be worn. They're meant to be used. You know that your shoes have had a good life when they're worn out. And, the soles, they probably need refurbished or replaced. And, they're getting a little bit dirty as well. And, if they're still well within their natural lifespan, you bring them to a shoe shiner like myself. But sometimes a good pair of shoes just needs replaced. At the same time, I think that's the highest honor. I hate to see shoes that they're getting replaced, not because they were used and loved, but because they were neglected. Let's see. I think that's just about all we're going to get for the big brush. Let's switch over to Little Bristle. How does that sound? This is, of course, Mr. Bristle's younger brother. Never quite grew up to be as big as Mr. Bristle there, but he makes it work. Let's see. You've been a shoe shiner for a little bit too long when you start naming your tools, but hey, I say if you can't have a little bit of fun with the career that you've chosen, then did you really make a good decision at all? Shoe shining might not be the most glamorous job, but it pays the bills and I get to have a little bit of fun on the day-to-day. Now, I don't know if you can quite see all the dust that's being kicked up, but Mr. Bristle, Little Bristle, I should say, he knows how to get the job done. Alright. Now we're cooking with gas, as my dad would say. Oh yeah, old Pops was he was a fountain, a source of fun for all sorts of witty sayings like that. He was a shoe shiner for 30 years and took up his vocation. I think it's turned out all right. Okay. Now, we've got your boots here pretty well dusted off. You can see a little bit of personality has been restored. A lot of that, big, obvious grime and dirt has been lifted away, which is always good, but obviously you can tell there's still quite a bit on there, which is, of course, when we turn to our friend, the saddle soap. Saddle soap is fantastic because it's really made for just about every type of boot and almost every type of material. And with just a very simple wet rag like this one, you can make some real magic happen. Watch closely. There we go. All right. Now we're making some big progress. You're lucky. Leather boots really can last quite some time, and with proper care, they can even last through generations, which is what I find to be remarkable. Leather is such an enduring material. It's expensive, but if you give it the time and attention it needs, it can really be a buy it for life type purchase, which is obviously the probably most desirable thing. You don't want to be replacing your boots, especially if you've broken them in and you've worn them for quite some time. You'll want to be replacing those every couple of years. Alright, let's give this rag a quick rinse. Hey, no one ever said I was the most elegant fella. It's purely about function. A little bit of water gets splashed. Well, we have a mop for a reason, right? Right. Let's get some more of that soap in there. And really just working it into the fabric. And you can see, obviously, the difference. This has been soaped. This hasn't been. And all the dust, all the grime, it's really starting to lift out now. Now, it's not all going to be gone in one pass. This is probably going to be a 2-pass job. At the same time, what remarkable progress just a little bit of care and attention can make. And if it were me, I'd recommend doing this pretty regularly. Not to mention be supporting your friendly local shoe shiner. Which in my book is never a bad thing. Now, a lot of people, there's a lot of fancy tools out there that you can use for operations like these. There are people who use fire. There are people who throw in all sorts of tricks, gimmicks to make it a really exciting experience coming out to get your shoes all shined up. For me, one, I don't really want to play around with fire in my shop for understandable reasons, I think. And two, I think that part of the magic is seeing, how simple it is. It's just that little bit of extra care that can really make a difference. And not just from a shoe shining perspective, but a human perspective. Sometimes you don't need to be able to do the most good in order to do good. And I think that's a pretty good life lesson to follow. If you can do something, then you probably should. It doesn't have to be crazy, it doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be a little something. Alright. Something is almost always better than nothing. Now, if you've ever been to the barber, you know that Parasso, which is used in shaving creams and foams, has a very distinct, very pleasant scent. Saddle soap, interestingly, doesn't really have any sort of scent. Which, on one hand, a person might be a little bit disappointed. Their new shoes might not smell new. But for me, I think the most important thing, is that it does its job, and does its job very, very well. As you can see, your shoes, which were very dusty, very dirty, not the most attractive pair in the world. Already you can tell these are looking closer and closer to how they did when they were brand new. Alright, and now we get to clean the sides. Always a treat. There's all sorts of gunk that likes to hide in the material on the side of the soles, and it's a area that we tend to forget about. Now, I feel I should temper your expectations. These aren't going to turn your shoes back to the way that they were on day one. At the same time, they are going to be a lot more attractive looking, and once we've got the conditioning out of the way, a lot more functional as well, because they'll be weatherproofed. You can see my little rag here started off quite clean and is now a little bit less so. But hey, that just means that all the dust, all the grime that was firmly embedded in your shoe is now just right here in the old coffee cup, which in my opinion is a much better place for it. Alrighty. Okay. Well, I think this rag is just about finished, so let's switch over to our second. Okay, good. And we'll just do a quick secondary pass. Just to make sure that we've really got all the dirt and the grime out. And the most that we can of it. Another important part to focus on when you're cleaning a shoe is the seams and the little laces, or the little eyelets, I should say, forward laces, which, though small, the seams and whatnot can hold quite a bit of gunk, because it just gets trapped in there. Alrighty, now these are looking pretty significantly better, if I do say so myself, compared to the boot which you originally brought into me. Always a positive to see some, just immediate improvement. At the same time, we're not quite done. These boots still need some waterproofing, because in order to function fully as the utilitarian instrument, which these are, we're gonna want them to be fully restored to their previous capabilities, which of course includes waterproofing. Now, how do we obtain waterproofing? Well, that's relatively simple. First we have to dry the boots, which will just be a simple process. And then we're going to use conditioner. And conditioner is just another tool that we use. Essentially what it's going to do is it's going to buff the leather, make it look really nice and shiny, and also add a nice waterproof layer to it, okay? Perfect. So first we're going to dry the boot. And I'll just take this over to my station and finish that up, okay? Alrighty, now you can see that the leather is dried out quite considerably, which is excellent, because now we get to condition it. You can see though it's dry, now it's clean and soft as well. It's still not quite looking perhaps as it did when it came out of the box. It's lost a little bit of that luster, and that dust and grime has ground down the waterproof coating that goes on the outside. So this is the part where we reapply that. And to do that, as I pointed out before, we'll be just using simple boot conditioner. Really good stuff, really easy to use. And like Bob Ross always said, we're going to load up the applicator. In this case, just a nice clean scrap towel, just full of conditioner. We're getting this in every seam, everywhere that we're able to get to. We're going to be using this conditioner. Alrighty. Well, with the help of a few old-fashioned tools and some even more old-fashioned methods, we have got you what looks to be a brand spanking new pair of well-conditioned, weatherproofed, waterproofed, and just quite frankly, nice and shiny leather boots. Let's get these redone with the laces, and then we can send you on your way. How's that? Wonderful. And there you go. Fully repaired, fully restored, and, well, I think you'll be getting a lot more good use out of these. I would say perhaps even years and years and years, based on when you told me you got these and how long you've had them. So thank you so much for stopping in. I, of course, really appreciate it. And if you ever need any additional shoes, boots, loafers, heck, I'll do high heels if you want. Restored, repaired, shined up, conditioned, weatherproofed, waterproof, however you want, I'll be able to do it. So don't be shy, stop on by, and I'll see you again real soon, okay? Have a good one.